headlines in association with
That date is Tuesday, 13th September 2022, and the ceremonies shall be held at Moi International Stadium, Kasarani.
On Lookup News tonight, President-elect William Ruto to be sworn into office on Tuesday as the day declared a national public holiday.
People there are mentally tortured, psychologically tortured, and it's not fair. It's a shame being told there's nothing you can do, there's nothing your government can do.
Happy to be alive. Diana Chepkemoi, a 24-year-old Kenyan who was reported to have been detained in Saudi Arabia by a rogue employer, checks back home today. The Supreme Court strikes at petition filed by activists challenging the suitability of Rigathi to hold the office of Deputy President over integrity issues.
Yippee! Kamata plotting at 349K. Oh yes, for only 349,000 Kenyan shillings, you become a plot owner at the Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki. The Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki is located along the Nanyuki-Rumuruti Road, only 11 minutes from the Cedar Mall and right opposite Mount Kenya Wildlife Estate. This is the best place to establish the getaway home that you have always dreamt about. For every 349,000 that you deposit or pay as installment towards any of Optivent's plot of land, you get 10K cash back instantly. Jaza basi twende Nanyuki. Bigger is indeed better.
Welcome the Supreme Court ruling to uphold William Ruto's win in the just concluded general elections. The leaders have taken the opportunity to congratulate Ruto and have urged him to unite all Kenyans. The leaders have also thanked Kenyans for maintaining peace during and after the elections. Edwin Mkora reports.
After the Supreme Court upheld President-elect William Ruto's win, the Interfaith Council has congratulated the Supreme Court for making a ruling that considered the democracy and constitution of Kenya. The leaders have said the ruling has placed Kenya in the global map as a country that respects the rule of law.
Zima kufanya kazi kwa umoja na amani na utulivu wa pekee ndiposa tuweze kupata maendeleo. Tena tumerudia kusema tuwashukuru sana washikadau, hasa vinara wetu ambao wamekuwa wameendelea na kazi ya uongozi wa nchi hii. Rais wetu mpendwa, sasa rais aliyeteuliwa, Right Honorable, ambaye amekuwa ni mstari wa mbele kung'ang'ania na kupigania haki, na ametusukuma Kenya tukapata cheo cha kufikia hali hii hapa, kwamba inawezekana kuchaguana zikatangazwa na tusipigane.
The leaders, while congratulating Ruto, have also thanked President Uhuru Kenyatta and Azimio leader Raila Odinga for maintaining peace and respecting the court decision. On their part, the Supreme Council of Kenyan Muslims have also welcomed the Supreme Court ruling and also commended the Electoral Commission IEBC for conducting the important exercise.
We commend the chairman of the Independent Elections and Boundary Commission, Mr. Wafula Jibokati, on whose shoulders a heavy burden was placed, but in spite of all, he stood by his oath of office and discharged his duty, contributing to the peace we celebrate today. We also commend the Commission and the management and staff of IBC for the
leaders have also urged Kenyans to continue maintaining peace for the benefit of the country.
Thank the Almighty for the victory he has given the people of Kenya and the gift of concluded peaceful election. 1 year ago, our nation was gripped with anxiety of unknown. The political landscape for fractious, truth and courtesy faded in the public discourse. Today, Kenya has a new president elected through a democratic process and validated through constitutional means. More significantly, Kenyans have woken up the second day after such validation of the Supreme Court to a peaceful country where everyone has proceeded with their business.
Edwin John Mokora, Lookuptv.
Transitional Committee has declared Tuesday, 13th September, a national public holiday to mark the swearing-in ceremony of the President-elect William Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua. In a press conference today, head of the Transitional Committee, who is also the head of the Public Service, Joseph Kinyua, said the ceremony will be held at Kasarani Stadium and preparations are in top gear to facilitate a smooth handover of power. Our reporter Henry Tende walks us through.
A day after the Supreme Court made a judgment that President-elect William Ruto was validly elected as the 5th President of the Republic of Kenya, the Transitional Committee has set in motion preparations to facilitate a smooth swearing-in ceremony.
This is a real Kenyan gentleman. I know.
On Tuesday, the committee, led by Head of Public Service Joseph Kinyua, has declared the 13th of September, which is Tuesday next week, a public holiday in accordance with the provisions of the law to allow for the handing over of power to the new regime.
Would like to inform the nation that the swearing-in ceremony and inauguration of the new administration will be held in fidelity with Article 141 of the Constitution, being the first Tuesday following yesterday's decision by the Supreme Court upholding the declaration of the EIBC. That date is Tuesday, 13th September 2022, and the ceremonies shall be held at Moi International Stadium, Kasarani. The date of the swearing-in will be a public holiday of general observance throughout the territory of the Republic of Kenya.
These celebrations being a historical event among Kenyans, Kinyua has extended invitation for those who wish to attend and witness the ceremony to avail themselves at the Kasarani Stadium, which is the venue for this year's ushering in of the new governance.
To all Kenyans, as the leadership of our government transitions into the 5th administration, we are called upon to join hands and continue with the sacred work of building our nation, Kenya, a nation worthy of the sacrifices of our forefathers during the struggle for independence, and building the very best nation that we can bequeath to our future generations.
Kinyua has underscored the need for the nation to remain united during this transitional period and has called on Kenyans to work in concerted efforts once President-elect William Ruto takes over the reign in order to realize great strides of development.
With the presidential election cycle now behind us, the swearing-in and the inauguration ceremony is an opportunity for the nation to not only witness and usher in our nation's 5th administration, but also to celebrate the strength and vibrancy of our constitutional and democratic processes, which differentiates Kenya from so many other nations in Africa and beyond. For that reason, the eyes of Africa and indeed the rest of the world will be on Kenya on that day. In that regard, all Kenyans are invited to be part of this historic event.
The national government has set aside 200 million shillings to cater for the budgetary expenses, this even as the Kenyan Army officially takes over the operations of the Kasarani Stadium ahead of the swearing-in ceremony. Henry Tende, Lookuptv.
Deputy President William Ruto is set to be sworn in as the 5th President of the Republic of Kenya, following the verdict by the Supreme Court to uphold the election victory as is stipulated in the 2010 Constitution of Kenya. Ruto will be sworn in on Tuesday, September 13th at the Kasarani Stadium. We now take a look at the process of assumption of office.
President-elect William Ruto's win was upheld by the Supreme Court. A judgment delivered by the 7-judge bench led by Chief Justice Martha Koome dismissed the petition tabled by Raila Odinga and Martha Karua, putting William Ruto on the path to State House. It is a process that starts almost immediately after the announcement of the presidential results. On Tuesday 9th, Kenyans cast their ballot to elect their president and other leaders. 6 days later came the hour, and so did the man. William Samoei Ruto was the president-elect and would have been sworn in on 30th of August were it not for the Supreme Court petition. Now, after his victory was upheld, the country now counts 7 days to the date he is to be sworn in, the 13th of September, and in the wait, the process of transition is in motion. The process of transition to power is spelled out in the Constitution, with the Transition Committee mandated to ensure that everything goes according to plan. Article 141 of the Assumption of Office of the President stipulates that the President-elect shall be sworn in on the first Tuesday following the 7th day following the date on which the court renders a decision declaring the election to be valid if any petition has been filed under Article 140.
Thank you very much, Brian. Actually, the Assumption of Office Act provides that the President-elect should be sworn in 7 days after they are declared president. So if they are declared on 15th of August, you notice that they ought to have been sworn in that Tuesday before the petition was lodged. So the petition was lodged on Monday, right? But because of the petition process, which took 14 days, then there was need for an additional 7 days. So the 7 days will now start counting from yesterday. And then, of course, it also makes provisions that they ought to be sworn in between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m.
With an incumbent having a sour relation with the President-elect, what could happen if the incumbent does not attend the ceremony then? We speak to Advocate of the High Court, Bruno Situma.
Because part of the inauguration ceremony involves the handover of the instruments of power. So the sword and all that, all those ceremonial instruments of power. So he might not agree with the person who has been elected by Kenyans, but it is vested upon him legally that he ought to attend. Now,
the President-elect, after being sworn in, then takes over.
One of the roles of the Assumption of Office Committee, it's not just a committee that ensures that the President-elect becomes president, in the sense that he is given the ceremonial power. They have to ensure that the transition period is fully taken care of. The list of assets, the list of liabilities, they have to appraise the president on the current state of affairs in this country. What is happening around this country, and not just Nairobi, every corner of this country.
After the declaration, here is what ensues up until the President-elect is sworn in as the head of state. The outgoing head of state will welcome the next president of Kenya to the stage to make his address. The national anthem will be played as the presidential standard is changed to conform to the new administration. The outgoing president will then leave for State House to officially hand over the house on the hill to his successor. In the meantime, the newly sworn-in president will then be driven around the stadium in an open Land Rover to greet Kenyans in attendance, after which he will be driven to State House for a final sit-down with the outgoing president. Brian Amuai, Lookuptv, Nairobi.
Presidential election results remain an emotive subject in Kenya, so much that since the promulgation of the 2010 Constitution, petitions to nullify presidential elections have been filed at the Supreme Court in the 2013, 2017 and the just concluded 2022 elections. Tonight we take a look at the history of presidential election petitions, their necessity and the credibility of the electoral process.
The 2007 general election is arguably the most disputable poll in the history of Kenyan elections. The post-violence that ensued led to loss of lives, animosity, and destruction of immeasurable proportions. Following the chaos, the report by the Kriegler Commission urged Kenya to come up with a new constitution that was promulgated on the 27th of August 2010 that detailed on how any future dispute concerning election will be solved. The major avenue of this was to set up Supreme Court that would hear all issues regarding presidential election and make a ruling. In the 2013 presidential elections, there were 3 petitions seeking to invalidate Uhuru Kenyatta's win. The issues in contention were whether the president and his deputy were elected in compliance with the law, whether the election was conducted in a free, fair, transparent manner, or whether the spoiled votes should have been counted when determining total number of votes cast. A 6-bench judge led by former Chief Justice William Mutunga, however, upheld the election, stating that the elections were indeed conducted in compliance with the Constitution and the law. On the second issue, the court ruled that Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto were validly elected and that the rejected votes ought not to have been included in calculating the final tallies in favor of each presidential candidate. The main petitioner, Raila Odinga, accepted the decision, but however disagreed with the Supreme Court judgment. Raila urged Uhuru to reunite all Kenyans and uphold constitutionalism. In the 2017 presidential elections, there were 3 issues of contention. If president election was conducted in accordance with the Constitution, whether there were irregularities and illegalities committed in the conduct of the 2017 presidential election, and if the irregularities were present, what was the impact, if any, on the integrity of the election? The 2017 election petition made history as the first presidential election in Africa to be nullified. The 7-bench judge, led by Chief Justice David Maraga, ruled in favor of the petitioners, saying that the presidential election was not conducted in accordance with the Constitution. The third respondent, who was the president, was not validly declared as president, and the first respondent, the IEBC, ordered to conduct a fresh election within 60 days. The decision was well received by the main petitioner, Raila Odinga, who termed the commission rotten and demanded resignations. President Kenyatta said he respected the court's decision, but also branded the judges as crooks. Following Raila's irreducible minimum demands that were not met, the NASA coalition did not participate in the repeat polls, leading to Uhuru Kenyatta's clear victory. In the 2022 elections, a 7-bench judge led by Chief Justice Martha Koome dismissed all 7 petitions on all 9 grounds, stating that the judges were not persuaded that the technology deployed failed to meet the standards of Article 86A on integrity. The court found no credible evidence to prove that anyone accessed, intercepted, or changed the voter results forms loaded on a public portal by the IEBC. The Supreme Court found no significant differences captured between the Forms 34A uploaded on the public portal and the physical Forms 34A delivered to the National Tallying Center that would have affected the overall outcome of the presidential election. Supreme Court also found no deliberate move to suppress voter turnout after it postponed some elections in parts of the country. On discrepancies, the court ruled that there is no evidence of unexplained discrepancies between votes cast in various election positions across the country and those cast in favor of the president. Further, the Supreme Court found that the power to verify and tally presidential election results vests not in the chairperson but in the commission, but ruled the commission only had disagreements at the tail end. The court also said the judges were not persuaded by the Amicus Courier Law Society of Kenya to review their position on the exclusion of rejected ballots in computing the total votes cast. The judges were also of the view that the pointed irregularities were not of such magnitude to affect the outcome of the presidential election. And ultimately, the court dismissed the presidential election petitions, declaring the election of William Ruto as valid. The main petitioner, Raila Odinga and Martha Karua, have since accepted the ruling but disagree vehemently with the court's decision. The president-elect William Ruto has applauded the commission, terming chairperson Wafula Chebukati as an election hero. With the different views from the two political divides, whether the court decision impacts positively the electoral process solely remains with the electorate. Nancy Nalimer, Lookuptv.
You're watching the news on Lookuptv. We're going to a short break and we'll be back with more.
Badilisha maisha yako na kuachua chapa. Jishindie shilingi 1,150 pesa taslimu kila siku kupitia vipindi maarufu uvipendavyo katika runinga ya Lookuptv. Maelekezo ili ukaweze kuwa mshindi ni rahisi sana. Kwa simu yako ya mkononi, ingia kwenye M-Pesa. Elekea kwa Paybill, weka nambari 636395. Kwa account name, andika neno Look. Kisha kwa amount, uweka shilingi 99 au 99 shillings. Kwa M-Pesa Paybill, uweka nambari 636395. Account name, andika Look. Amount, uweka shilingi 99 au 99 bob peke yake. Kumbuka, Unavyocheza mara nyingi ndivyo unavyoongeza nafasi zako za kuwa mshindi. Unasubiri nini? Badilisha maisha yako leo na kwachua chapa. Mchezo huu umeidhinishwa na BCLB na ambao hawajafikisha miaka 18 hawajaruhusiwa kucheza. Cheza kwa kuwajibika.
Get a chance to wake up as a tourist as you view Mount Kenya every day by buying a plot of land at Wema Gardens, Naru Moru. At only 400 meters off tarmac, this is the right place to build your dream home, cottages or holiday homes. You can also buy this property to give to your children as a special inheritance. Water and electricity are in the vicinity, while neighbors are already building their homes. These plots are specially ready for you with title deeds scheduled to be out in 6 months. Buy a 50 by 100 plot of land at Wema Gardens for only 399,000 Kenya shillings. You can also pay for your plot through our friendly 1-year installments plan.
Chepkemoi, who had been stranded in Saudi Arabia, landed in Nairobi earlier today. Chepkemoi caught Kenyans' attention after photos of her looking emaciated surfaced on social media. Her family, led by the mother, received her at JKIA. Diana made her way back home after her mother, Clara Cheprotich, and Kenyans on social media pleaded with the government to help.
Diana Chepkemoi is among the many Kenyan ladies who have opted to move to Saudi Arabia seeking greener pastures. The Meru University student was forced to defer her studies after failing to raise school fees, and in May she began her job in the Gulf.
I left Kenya to go to Saudi Arabia just with the hope I'll get maybe a better life afterwards.
Terming herself lucky, Diana thanked Kenyans and the government for listening to her plight. She further pleaded with the government to help the suffering Kenyan workers in Saudi.
Mine was just a tip of the iceberg. Watu wanateseka huko. People are suffering there. My friends are suffering there. It's just that mine, nilipata that voice, nilipata support venye niliongea. But people are suffering there, and I'm just pleading with the government, just please do something. Sure. People there are mentally tortured, psychologically tortured, and it's not fair. Sure. And it's a shame being told there's nothing you can do, there's nothing your government can do.
Her mother, on the other hand, couldn't hide her joy for seeing her daughter back alive.
I'm so grateful this afternoon that Diana is back. Yeah. I'm so grateful. I have extra, I can't explain my happiness with.
Mudeunda Lana, Lookuptv.
After the induction of new members, the 13th Parliament will start its sessions on Thursday 8th, according to a Gazette notice dated 5th of September, with its core business being the election of the Speaker, in what is expected to be a hotly contested seat pitting Kenya Kwanza against Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance. And here's Ian Keitanya with the report.
Induction and familiarization of the new members of Parliament last week. The new Parliament is expected to hold its first sitting this week and will be presided over by President Uhuru Kenyatta, as President-elect William Ruto is yet to be sworn in. In its first sitting, the members will have to elect Justin Muturi's successor as the National Assembly Speaker, with a fierce battle expected between William Ruto's Kenya Kwanza and Raila Odinga's Azimio la Umoja. The President-elect William Ruto-led Kenya Kwanza has fronted Bungoma Senator Moses Masika Wetangula as their candidate for the Speaker post, while the Raila Odinga Azimio la Umoja has fronted Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka in what is expected to be a hotly contested set. Legally, the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance dominates the National Assembly with a majority of 167 MPs, while Kenya Kwanza has 158 members in addition to 12 nominated members of Parliament. However, the Kenya Kwanza team controls the Assembly as it stands after the defection of Azimio allied MPs including Tiati MP William Kamket of KANU, Ugenya MP David Ochieng, Ali Roba's UDM allied members of Parliament. Kenya Kwanza has also nominated Uasin Gishu Women Representative Gladys Boss-Sholei as the Deputy Speaker,
Kikuyu MP Kimani Ichung'wah as the majority leader and South Mugirango Silvana Sosoro as the majority whip. In the Senate, the Azimio la Umoja has nominated Speaker Kenneth Marende to succeed Bungoma Governor as the Senate Speaker, while the Kenya Kwanza team has fronted former Kilifi Governor Amason Jeffa Kingi for the same post. Ian Keitani, Lookuptv.
IEBC now wants the court to drop the graft case facing Deputy President-elect Rigathi Gachagua. Our reporter Kariuki Ndwati spoke to a constitutional lawyer on whether the Deputy President enjoys presidential immunity.
After the Supreme Court upheld the election victory of President-elect William Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua, it has emerged that the latter was scheduled to appear in court on Tuesday to answer to corruption cases. In details contained in court schedule and cases lined up for today, Rigathi Gachagua was to appear before Magistrate Wakumile alongside 9 of his co-accused. The case had initially been scheduled to take place on September 5th, 2022, but did not take place after it was postponed owing to the petition lodged that the Supreme Court by Azimio la Umoja presidential candidate Raila Odinga, who was challenging the election results. But according to constitutional lawyer Bruno Situma, he says that if he is found guilty, then definitely he will not be eligible to uphold the public office.
I think the issue of the Deputy President-elect Rigathi Gachagua ought to be differentiated from that of, for example, former Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko. Because what the law actually provides is you must have exhausted all the legal means. So I think Rigathi's case is just at the High Court level so far. What ought to be done is they have to exhaust all the legal means. The Supreme Court, perhaps the Supreme Court will have to make a determination on that. And it's only if he's found guilty all the way up that then he will be prevented from being able to hold public office.
The lawyer also added that it will be easy for a decision to be made out of the political season other than when the political heat is high in the country, is saying that if judgment is done during a political time, it will be termed as a political outcome.
So for me, it's a good thing that now he can concentrate on his case without political issues surrounding the case, because, for example, if the court were to find a verdict of guilty in an ongoing political season, more often than not, that will be concluded to be a political outcome rather than a legal outcome.
According to Bruno, is that the Deputy President does not enjoy any political immunity, saying that it's only the President who enjoys the immunity.
Only a person who enjoys immunity from civil or criminal prosecution while in the office is the President. The Deputy President will have to go through the rigors of that case.
Lastly, the weight of the case lies in the court. If found guilty, then definitely he will undergo trial.
He will certainly undergo trial like any other human being. Perhaps the expectation that comes with the high office that he holds, I expect that the court might actually dispense with the need for his personal attendance to court.
Trial.
He will certainly undergo trial like any other human being. Perhaps the expectation that comes with the high office that he holds, I expect that the court might actually dispense with the need for his personal attendance to court.
Kariuki Ndwati, Lookuptv.
The leadership of Kenyan women, Body African Women Leaders Network, in collaboration with Eco Network Africa and the Women Mediation Network Kenya, have congratulated President-elect William Ruto and commended him for his willingness to work with the opposition to further develop the country. The women, led by their chair, Dr. Jennifer Riria, have urged the President-elect to champion women's rights once he takes over power.
The opportunity to congratulate His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, together with his deputy, His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, upon the election as the 5th President and the Vice President of the Republic of Kenya. This is the voice of the Kenyan people who spoke on Tuesday, the 9th August 2022, through their ballots and endorsed by the Supreme Court decision of Monday, 5th September 2022. We have no doubt that you will embrace all Kenyans and unite our nation so that together we can tackle the myriad challenges affecting our nation today. As you set agenda for your first 100 days in office after being sworn in, we urge you to prioritize the women's agenda, including actualizing the commitment for girls and women contained in the Kenya Kwanza Alliance Women's Charter, which articulates the comprehensive agenda for women of Kenya. Additionally, we appreciate the call for reconciliation that you made to other 2022 presidential contenders and all Kenyans in general, irrespective of their political persuasions. Indeed, this is the only way to get the country back to track. Congratulations, Your Excellency. We applaud the message of hope and reconciliation by our 4th President, His Excellency Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, in which he committed to hand over power to President-elect and ensure smooth transition. We appreciate the stately leadership that the President Uhuru Kenyatta, supported by our First Lady, Her Excellency Margaret Kenyatta, have provided for the last 10 years, and especially your contribution to supporting the cause of girls and women. You all know that the outgoing president was the first male gender champion in this country, and he received an award recently because of his work on gender and promoting peace agenda, not only in Kenya, but being a beacon of peace in our region. The women of Kenya owe you a great deal of gratitude.
Kenya's 5th President, William Ruto, in his maiden speech yesterday, has promised to fulfill all the promises he made during his campaigns. However, Kenyans have their expectations with the onset of the new administration under Ruto's leadership.
Supreme Court upholding President William Ruto's win. Ruto is now Kenya's 5th president. Here are the expectations of the people of Kenya regarding the new government.
Alituonyesha yeye anaweza saidia watu wa chini. Suliona alijaribu kuleta wheelbarrow. Ni kumaanisha ni mtu wa chini anataka inuke. Sawa? Topo nini hiyo vitu alikuwa anasema ni kutoka chini mtu wa chini ainuke. Sawa? Afike kiwango ya watu wengine. Trist, unga ipatikane. Unga irudi. Unajua awaliteremsha sasa ni 200. Tunataka irudi hata 90 kama kitambo.
Angalia kitu kama unga, sukari, orefa bei imepanda. So ningebeda tu anguse hiyo.
Beto tufanyie ichekima vijana. Sawa? Itugie pia si opportunity ya wira. Umeona? Alafu pia iweze kuboresha historia health.
Ambia sisi kama watu wa Uber atukumbuke sana ili hata commission ziende chini, tukuwe na mahali tunaweza park gari hapa town tukishukisha na tukibeba, kwa maana hiyo ndio challenge tunapata hapa Nairobi. Na pia mafuta watu angalilia ishuke chini ili maisha ya kila mtu ishuke chini.
Make this business environment more friendly, cost of production, especially these business licenses, they should be looked upon in this Nairobi County.
Kenyans are hopeful that the new government under President William Ruto will focus on betterment of education, health, and the economy. Mudeunda Lana, Lookuptv.
flying through the streets of central parking area.
In the day's sport, thousands of cyclists across the country today came together to pay their last respects to Suleimani Kangangi, a cyclist who died in a road accident in the United States of America.
That's why we are here today to remember him and give him that last salute as cyclists.
I really appreciate him for mentoring my son. My son is one of the young people that he's been mentoring in cycling, and he had a great impact on him as well. So we'll always remember him for his humility, his friendship, and his great skill in cycling.
Now, in terms of carrying on his legacy, now it's upon us as cyclists to take the initiatives and carry on the initiatives that he had started, because also in the gravel race he had started. He's the one who introduced gravel racing in Kenya, in Nairobi, and now it's upon us to take the opportunity to lift up what he had started.
There is no rest for the national men's cricket team as they now turn their attention to the Africa Cricket Association ACA T20 Cup final played for the September 15th to 21st in Johannesburg, South Africa. Coach David Abuya's men have in the last 2 weeks played Nepal in both T20 and one-day international bilateral series at the Nairobi Gymkhana Club. Kenya are in Group B alongside Nigeria, Malawi and Cameroon.